Today on the Wizardcast, we have a great joke.
No, really? What is it?
What, no interruption today?
Why would you get interrupted? I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay, fine. Why can you not take your Salesforce certification tests in a zoo?
Why, Brian?
There are
Last time on the Wizardcast.
Brian! Oh, God, there you are. Jeez. Let me get these ropes free. What happened? Oh, yes, and the gag. Here. There. Are you okay? Who did this to you, Brian?
It was...
It was me, Wizard Cad.
Amber Boaz.
Yes, it was I who brought you here. You have fallen into my trap.
But why, Amber? Why?
I'll tell you why.
And now the conclusion of the Wizardcast.
I'm Brian Kwong.
And I'm Mark Ross.
We're Salesforce experts that love talking about technology and Salesforce.
We also love humor. Doesn't mean we're actually good at it.
In the Salesforce community, I'm known as the Salesforce Wizard, likely due to me wearing a wizard hat at Salesforce events.
And I'm known as Salesforce Yoda for pretty much the same reason.
You should see the ears.
We have a passion to help educate and entertain people.
So we've joined forces to create Wizardcast.
We've got tips and best practices.
We talk with interesting people.
All mixed with quote-unquote jokes and humor.
Welcome
to the
Wizardcast. Before I got rudely interrupted with a gag.
I believe you were going to tell people what we're covering today.
Oh, we're going to be talking about spring.
That's right. The spring Salesforce release. Spring 17 is just around the corner. Actually, by the time you're listening to this... What?
I was going to say because spring is going to be late because the groundhog saw its shadow.
That's just a myth, Brian. Everyone knows groundhogs are actually meteorologists.
Okay. So we're still going to have 6 more weeks of winter.
Meteorologists can't tell you if it's 6 more weeks of winter.
Mine does.
And how often is he right? Should have gotten a groundhog.
Yeah. This is where we like to thank those people who give us the colorful dollars to help get Wizardcast on the air.
1, we're not a radio station, Brian. 2, we're not on the air. And 3, that's monopoly money.
The episode you're listening to has been brought to you by the Groundhogs Labor Union. The hard-working groundhogs may have to work only once a year, but they spend the rest of the year recovering from the hatred sent to them from Americans everywhere.
How did we end up with a Groundhogs Day sponsor?
The episode you're listening to has been brought to you by the Groundhogs Labor Union.
I think you already said that, Brian. Do you need to...
The episode you're listening to has been brought to you by the Groundhogs Labor Union.
Dear God. Brian, it's me, Ned. Ned Ryerson. Bing!
You know, I just realized I didn't write a transition. And now, spring 17.
That's right. I did my part that we agreed to. I read the first half of the of the notes. Brian, did you do yours?
Yeah. There's going to be some general enhancements
Brian,
for Lightning Experience.
Brian, you forgetting. I can see your camera. I can see that your fingers are crossed. Okay.
No, that's me stretching my hand. You know, I get arthritis in the wintertime.
Brian, did you actually read them?
Alternative facts, sure.
We're going to talk about alternative release notes?
I think...
Is that it?
Alternative release notes.
So you didn't do it. All right, fine.
I read some of them.
You read some?
I saw that 47 ideas from the Idea Exchange.
So you read the first few pages.
Were solved.
Is what you're saying. All right, so let me tell you what I found.
Chatter Streams.
Brian, you're a terrible person. All right, so like every release we've had for the past few releases, there's a lot of lightning here. But this one I think I could say is pretty much the there you go lightning release. 'Cause it's the one that finally makes lightning like really viable for a lot of users that couldn't use it before.
Why? What's coming out that makes it more viable than the winter release?
Console for starters. Opportunity products.
Sales console, or is it sales specific console?
Sales and service. So console in general.
Is Service Cloud Lightning ready in this? Because my
Service
understanding
Cloud,
was just sales.
Service Cloud is Lightning ready. We have knowledge. We have
forecasting.
We have forecasting. Yes,
that's a big one.
We have campaign hierarchy, which I guess we had in the App Exchange, but now it's built in. We have. Let's see. Let me go to my list here. We have lookup filters. Oh my God, didn't have that before. We have orders, quotes. Oh, Sales Console is beta, but it is there. We have save and new in tasks. The save and new button.
Ooh.
Hey, that's huge for some people. Okay.
You know, I understand it's huge. I used it all the time in the classic mode, but the fact that you're making it's in Lightning just kind of.
But that's their point. Like, okay, we'll talk about Lightning like as a bigger thing in a bit. Inline editing and list views. We finally have that now.
No, I got one. ReCAPTCHA for web to lead.
Yes, and web to case.
Yeah,
and that's
because that should cut down tons of the spam that people.
Oh
get.
My God, yes, ridiculous amounts. We actually have the ability to trigger assignment rules in Lightning now. We have a potential duplicates Lightning component. That's nice. We have campaign hierarchy. Campaign member statuses can be changed now. We have a recent history, at least in console, that can be used now. I guess that's more console stuff. But there's all this stuff that is just like really, really needed in Lightning for it to be really viable. Like sales could only use it up to a point without opportunity products and forecasts.
Yeah.
And quotes. And now those are there.
I agree. I mean, I try to start off in Lightning every day, but I inevitably make the move to Classic within the first 5 minutes of my workday because there's some things that just aren't in Lightning.
Yep.
And so that's good to see. It'll be interesting to see how the conversion goes. People are going to make the leap.
Yes, I think this is the first one where we're really going to see a lot of people thinking, "Oh, this is now a viable thing." And to be fair, there are still gaps.
Like what? What do you think is something that could keep someone behind?
So, for example, in console still has some limitations. You still can't do keyboard shortcuts, multi-monitor, live agent, macros. Those are all considered to be pretty important for advanced service console users.
Too. Yeah.
Especially keyboard shortcuts. That's relatively simple. Person accounts still aren't supported in Lightning Console. They're supported in Lightning now, I believe, but not in Lightning Console. Forecasting, not supported in Lightning Console. Knowledge sidebar actions don't work in Lightning Console. So there are still some limitations.
So for non-console users, now would be a good time.
Yeah, well, and this is just one thing. I mean, there are still other limitations in general with Lightning. Again, they're probably too numerous for us to really go into here, but that's one example of the sort of
That's
thing.
Another show.
Yeah, the save and new thing is a big example, you know. I'm not sure we have the notes specifically say we have save and new in tasks. Is it just tasks or tasks and events? One of the two. But it does not say for anything else.
Okay.
So
non-Lightning related. I'm merely interested in the pilot for dynamic screen fields for Flow.
Yes.
Yeah. Pilot, unfortunately, I don't know if it's an open pilot or not, but I think I will be going to the Success community and saying a prayer at the shrine of Scott and Shelley, and the hopes that I will be in that pilot.
Flowus desperatus, Domine.
Yeah.
Elementus lupus.
What's generally available is having the gosh, we're gonna have to re-record the Flonatics thing and have that as written up on that page. Anyways, what's gonna become generally available is the ability to have 2 columns in your flow screen, which is gonna be nice, especially if you have
a lot
of fields. One thing that I think is going to catch some people by surprise is that critical update is going to be automatically activated to trust percent values. So if you use a flow, or even I think it even applies to process builder, and you pull in, say, a percentage as a value, flow doesn't read it correctly. So for example, I had to actually take that value and do, instead of times 100, I had to do times 1,000 in order to get the right value for the calculations. And so now when this critical update gets activated, anyone who's had to deal with that sort of thing is going to have to make the adjustment, because now percentages are going to work the way they're supposed to work. What did you see the more context for flow errors?
More context for flow errors? Oh, context. Yes.
Context.
So we're getting better error messaging.
Yeah, I mean it's really slight, where it adds a few more words.
It's more human readable, right?
It's more human readable, and it also provides a reference to say, hey, take a look at this help file, like API exceptions.
Right. We're getting so another thing for pick lists, global pick lists are now going to be supported by the metadata and tooling APIs.
That's fantastic.
It
which
is.
Means they can be deployable finally.
Exactly. I'm hoping it will even mean that you'll be able to convert a non-global field to a global field via a push. I kind of doubt it, but right now it really sucks that you have to completely delete the field in order to do that.
Yeah, because you would have to delete it in your sandbox and recreate.
I
don't think it's going to work.
I know, probably not. I can hope.
Gingerbread dreams, Mark.
I know. Flows do get Lightning Skin. We also have the beta now, not just the pilot, for embedding flows in Lightning pages, so that's fantastic. Let's see, what else do we have here?
We are totally not opening the PDF and reading.
I actually have notes. Person accounts in Professional Edition.
Yeah, you have 14 line of notes.
Hey, it's something. Stay in touch, going away. Thank you, God,
I hated that feature. I understand lots of people like it, but there's something really rude sending like mass emails out to say, "Hey, can you update your information for me?"
Yeah, no.
View
and edit converted leads is getting its own permission,
which means you can finally let people like sales managers see converted leads.
Yes, dear God, yes. Thank you. Desktop CTI is dead and going away if you have users using it.
So what exactly is Desktop CTI?
Desktop CTI was a literal Windows executable that ran in your Windows bar, and that facilitated the CTI connection and the screen pop and things like that in your Salesforce window. It was weird technology, and they replaced it with OpenCTI, which is frankly far superior in every way. I mean, seriously, if you could get one of their engineers to talk to you about it, the sheer amount of like, oh my God, this is a night and day difference.
Maybe we should get one of their engineers to talk about it.
It'd be interesting. I think it'd be a relatively niche audience for that episode, Brian.
Hey, if you want to hear about that, ping us on Twitter or leave a comment at thewizardnews.com. Let us know.
Contacts to multiple accounts now gets person accounts.
You know what I'm excited about?
That's
porcupines.
Nice. I'm sorry, what?
Porcupines.
What?
Quills.
Oh, yes. No, that was going to be the next thing I said. So, okay, here's another public service announcement. Locker Service has I think it's a critical update you have to turn on. It might just be happening with this update. One way or another. I
think it turns on by default, but you can disable it temporarily.
Okay.
It's whatever you do not confuse it. It's not a place to buy shoes.
But it is an important security feature if you're having Lightning or going to do anything with Lightning, and they're forcing this on. You will not be able to have rich text fields with this on. I believe the only place is notes.
And do you know the reasoning behind that? That doesn't make a lot of sense.
So maybe one of the people we hope to get on the show soon, we've already talked to him about it. He's just very busy. Will hopefully be able to talk to us about Quill. But the reason essentially is that the existing rich text editor is not terribly secure. It has security loopholes that are actually established in the security community. Because the open text editor or the rich text editor that's there right now is something that somebody else wrote, Salesforce picked up, and then the people that wrote it dropped support for it. And if I've worked a lot in a lot of open source software in my earlier tech years, and open source software very often uses open source text editors and things like that. This happens all the time. Some rich text editor will be an open source thing. It'll get very popular, and then all of a sudden the person who wrote it, life will get in the way. They won't be able to support it anymore, and this really great editor will basically have no support going forward. Security holes will be discovered, as always happens, and nothing will ever happen. This happens constantly. So Salesforce basically took it upon themselves and said, look, we're sick and tired of this happening. It's actually the second time it's happened just to Salesforce. So we're going to develop our own. And they came up with Quill. And it's an open source, I believe it's open source, rich text editor that they are sponsoring and they are basically maintaining the responsibility of, but I'm pretty sure that other people can contribute to it. The idea is basically to have their own rich text editor that continues on. However, they just don't have it fully supported yet in Salesforce because there's a lot to do and there's a lot of places that rich text editors are used. Mm-hmm. So they have it ready for notes. And by that I mean notes, not notes and attachments, because they suck.
Yes. And, so how does this relate to porcupines?
It doesn't, Brian.
I wonder who I need to ask.
You're stuck on Groundhog.
To see if we can get like the porcupine as like the icon for Quill, like the brand logo.
Hedgehogs. That's Quill, and we're sorry, and Salesforce is sorry that your rich text is going to be dead for at least the release.
You know, one of the things I really, really hate is how convoluted you had to do some things in order to get email to case to assign cases to the right person. Because you had to use a combination of assignment rules, and you only had a handful, I think like 3 different fields you can actually have the email case to set.
Right.
That was called a transition.
Transitioning into the fact that you can assign them to queues now?
Yes.
Yeah, that's nice. You got to let me know when you're wanting me to pick up on things, Brian.
I just assumed the lack of talking was enough.
You know what happens when you assume, Brian?
Yeah, but you picked up right there, and I just stopped talking.
Man, I wish that would work more often. What else do we have?
You know, I don't know, Mark. I mean,
I like this.
It's 497 pages.
Long text areas in custom metadata. I like that. That's nice.
Why?
Because more field types and custom metadata is always useful to have.
Okay. Have you used custom metadata?
I have, actually.
Really? I have yet to use it.
It's great. It's like custom settings that don't suck. You're looking at me like that was a very deep thing you just said right there.
Technically in the universe, nothing really sucks. It all blows. It's all high pressure to low pressure.
One of the major issues with custom settings was essentially the need to make things either hierarchical or dependent on profiles in some fashion. And basically custom metadata is like custom settings, but without those dependencies. So you can just basically create whatever external data table, essentially is what it is, that you want, that can be referenced from any point in Salesforce. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, Lightning is actually quite viable now. I think they still have a bit of a ways to go in a few places.
And I want to hear from you guys. Let us know if you are going to be making the switch over to Lightning Experience now that Spring 17 is going to be hitting our environments. And let us know what was holding you back. And if you're not going to move, I would still love to hear what's holding you back. Why are you waiting still to make the change to Lightning?
And to be fair, a lot of people, if you're not going to be changing to Lightning like in the next couple months just because all the stuff's out, yeah, we get it. It's got to be on your roadmap. It's got to, but maybe now it's on your roadmap. Now maybe you can put it on your roadmap, whereas before it wasn't even considered.
I mean, I still have customers that won't be making the change because they can't get rid of things like URL hacks and some other things that are just not supported in Lightning and never will. But, you know, that's a different issue. Other people are dealing with vendors who aren't supporting Lightning quite yet. So there are lots of valid reasons to use Classic. I have a couple organizations that have to use Classic because of accessibility purposes. They work with eyesight impaired people, and they need to be able to do things like use a reader and Zoom and things like that, which are not viable with Lightning Experience.
So hopefully things will start moving forward. Salesforce will get a lot more people moving to Lightning now. I know I'm actually working on our internal instance for our company, and we are doing it entirely in Lightning. So that's pretty cool for me that I get to right now work on essentially a brand new org with Lightning from the start. So it'll be a great experience to see how that works.
Yeah, so you can reach out to us. You can hit us up on Twitter at Quongorific or Mark Ross __C.
That's right.
Right.
And we will help you as much as we can.
You can also go to thewizardnews.com and post a comment there in the show notes. You can also join us on the Success community. We do have a WizardCast group out there. Feel free to post comments there. We definitely want to hear from you guys about what do you want to hear? Are you moving to Lightning? Why and why not?
Why not? Why not?
WizardCast, produced by Brian Kwong and Mark Ross, directed by Brian Kwong and Mark Ross, technical administration by Brian Kwong and Mark Ross, script writing by Brian Kwong and Mark Ross, audio editing by Brian Kwong and Mark Ross, website maintenance by Brian Kwong and Mark Ross, weather forecasting by Phil Connors, and our intern this episode was the sinister Amber Boaz.
Send us your interview suggestions, jokes, videos, tips, and feedback to wizardcast@thewizardnews.com or head over to thewizardnews.com and click Contact WizardCast.
Don't forget to subscribe to the WizardCast and receive our next episode automagically.
Please post reviews on iTunes and share this episode. It helps us out bigly.
Once again, I'm Brian.
And I'm now only accessible via reCAPTCHA.
Thanks for listening. Too many cheetahs. Haha, we got you, John Graf.